Hello and welcome. I'm Andrew Sachs McLeod, CEO of Finance Feeds, and welcome to the Forex Industry Talk Show. Today I'm joined in the studio by Noam Stickemer of BMFN. Hi Noam.
Hi, good day mate.
And Karin Zaltberg, CEO of Karinza. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Very good.
Good to see you. So today we begin with a question. What is a super salesman?
Super salesman. I think the industry is definitely moving towards what we call super salesmen, people who are experienced in business development, in marketing, as well as sales. Considering that the three industries traditionally separate are moving into one, and salespeople are required to do business development, are required to do marketing in a sense, and then close the deal at the same time.
That's right. So gone are the days of the anodyne sales guy who just calls numbers and goes through the motions and then gets his just about beats the commission check, because that won't cut it in today's world. There's too much competition now.
Exactly. And today it's all about the trust-based selling model. And the trust-based selling model obviously linking towards getting to know your customer a lot more than just making a phone call and doing numbers. And in return, the result is a long-term customer that stays and sticks around, and your retention numbers are higher.
It's a high-touch situation where they're in constant relationship with the customer.
Yeah, it's just getting to know. It's just having someone on the phone. You hear kids in the background. You know, oh, you've got kids. How old are your kids? You get to know the kids' names, etc. And you build a relationship. And it's actually easy to close. It takes a bit longer. But the long-term benefit is a customer that's it's a customer for life, essentially.
Very interesting.
Really trustworthy, yeah.
Karin will certainly know this, the answer to this. That's something that's very interesting, but of course I've seen it in action a little bit, but not so much. Do you think it's better for a company to spend money on giving that kind of super salesman a high expenses budget, so you can travel to keep up relationships with very, very worthwhile customers, or do you think this is a real it takes out the volume aspect of getting lots of customers in one go?
I'll tell you. First of all, I don't think it's not about traveling to the client or to meet the client face to face. There are several ways that you can actually touch base with the client and lock down the deal on trust base. One of the ways to find out what is motivating him to begin with. What is his motivation in life? And this motivation, is that physiological motivation or social motivation? And once you know that if the need is social or physiological or combined, so you can start to talk with him about what he cares the most. It's not about what you have to offer.
Yeah,
it's not relevant anymore.
I see.
This is not like 25 years ago. You know, when you
went
to IBM shop to buy a computer, and then whatever they got to offer you, they will offer you, and that's what it is. Take it or leave it. These days, when the competition is so tight,
funny you should bring in physical products. I was in Best Buy in Fifth Avenue a couple of months ago. Empty store. But you can go there, you can buy yourself a tablet for like $150 or something like that. But then across the street in the Sony Experience showroom, where there's no products for sale, it's kind of like a showroom with permanent staff employed to give lots of time to the customer. 20 or 30 people in there.
Well, I mean, if you look at the
sales, they won't buy it because you can't. Yeah. You have to do it online. But this was a relationship building exercise and a tangible experience.
At the end of the day, it boils down to, why is the customer buying? There's a need, right? And the salesman's job is essentially to find that need. Once you've found the need, the rest of the sales process is adding value.
Right.
So you got to find the need, solve the problem, give the person the solution to the need, and then add value for the rest of the sales.
Yeah.
And not always does that require that all your products are going to provide that. Sometimes it's an element of your product. Once you find that need, that value proposition that's going to close the deal, you're just going to hit that all the time. You're just going to hit that. And that usually closes the deal. And it takes time to find it out. It's not just a 10-minute phone call. Yeah. It can be multiple phone calls.
So you think that we know that in many digital businesses there's a value proposition problem, because a lot of them do the Me Too approach of copying each other, and there's no value proposition. However, if you look back, like you said, 20-something years ago, companies did sales on volume. If you look at all of the successful big entrepreneurial success stories from the early 90s, none of them did that. None of them had a high-tech approach to sales. None of them spent resources building things that can show their customers or entertaining customers, getting to know them. They banged the doors down and they went around and sold. They didn't even have new ideas. They copied what everyone else was doing, understood it, figured it out for themselves, and then did it cheaper and faster.
Right. Listen, there are three basic elements to build trust with the client. So first of all, the client have to like you, not to love you or to like you. That means that to like the vibe.
Right.
The vibe in the conversation,
exactly,
the connection, the vibe. He needs to feel that the vibe is good. Everything in this world is based on energy. This is what I believe personally. And once your energy is relaxed and it's good, and you're a good listener and you're talkative, and you give the client a confidence that, and he likes that, and he likes you. Then the second element is that people needs to see the value.
Yeah.
He needs to recognize the value. It doesn't matter if it's a small value or a big value, but there is a certain value that he needs to recognize, and the value, that's the solution for what he needs.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
What he needs is that's what he wants.
Exactly.
And that's the value. That's the most important. The value is not a good product. The value is what is answering the solution.
And the thing is, that is a very interesting thing, because what you're doing is shifting the value to the actual person themselves, and that's kind of good in a way, because good whilst that particular super salesman is working for that particular company.
Yeah.
However, there are two things here. If someone masters that way of doing business and it works, and they generate a lot of revenue, and they reduce the retention cost, because that customer will stay with them, and it's usually very good quality customers, sometimes commercial customers.
Right.
And at that point, he's in a position where the company can't afford to let him go, because not only is he keeping the retention cost down and keeping those high quality customers happy, which is making much less work for the company, especially online technology companies, he then has got the relationship with the customers. The company hasn't. The product hasn't, because the product might be the same as everybody else's product. He's a relationship. What if the headhunters, we saw last week, there are now specialist headhunting companies that are starting up looking for these specific people, and they know them personally. If they then go to that guy and says, you know what, this company wants you, the company he leaves loses all their top end customers, because they'll go with him.
So that's what brings me to the third element, which you answered about this element, is the trust. This is how I divide a sale process: like, value, and trust. Now, what is the third element? The trust. The trust is the history of the company, is the story which is behind the company. I mean, look at Apple, for example.
Right. People don't buy what you make; they buy why you make it. And Apple,
right?
Go back,
they sell a story more than they sell a product.
Brilliant example, because they came into the cell phone industry much later. By the time they came in, the market was saturated by Nokia. Also, the computer industry. You're going to come to someone in 1985,
right,
when the first Apple Macintosh computer came out. Hey, want to buy a computer? No, not really. You've already got one. Yeah. But people buy it because of why it is how it is, the ethos of the company.
It's always the story behind it.
It is. But what if Apple is an exception? What if you have an ordinary PC, and the salesman is selling software that goes, the enterprise software or something like that, and he does that very high relationship. Let's say he's business development director of a large software company, and he does that and gets all the corporate customers on his side. Then he leaves the company because he's got much better offer. Everyone's after him. All the headhunters jumping up. Happens every week. Right?
Yeah, to me, yeah.
They're all jumping on the guy. They're fighting over him because it's better for them to pay one man $150,000 salary plus bonus than to have all those retention costs, and then he brings all his customers.
Yeah, but that's been happening since forever. I mean, you look at some of those, the printing industry, right? They sell these printers, Ricoh and some
which is
firms.
In big trouble now.
Yeah, of course.
Legacy model.
But some of these salespeople are coining $500,000. You sellers see in the financial industry.
That's true. But if they leave, then they've got the book.
They've got the book as well.
Exactly.
It's been happening forever. I mean, at the end of the day, when we say super salespeople, it means, in an essence, it's a boil down of business development, marketing, and salespeople. The sales process and marketing and business development, guys going out. Now, let's just take industries such as you were talking about software. They've got to go out and source business. Yeah. So it might come, you're going up a building, going floor by floor. Most people in the building have got some sort of computer systems, might use your software, it might be a niche, doesn't matter. You're building a relationship, coming in, hey, introduce yourself. That process might take months before you close, because a lot of these companies are on contracts with existing software providers.
Yes, they are.
So, that process of building a relationship, it's a long-term strategy. the marketing aspect of it and the branding, not just the personal branding, but the company's branding, the message, the story is what sells today. And long-term salespeople are almost like, I'll never forget somebody was telling me in Argentina, right? You go to a restaurant, right? And you sit there and there's an older fella, maybe 45, 50-year-old waiter, professional waiter.
That's right.
And that's all he's been doing his whole life.
Yeah.
Now, I would say you'd sit down, you have you're just taking your sip, you're getting about to a third of the glass of water left. You don't even blink, the guy's filled up your glass, right?
Yes.
The service is exceptional. You don't even have to make eye contact. The guy's he knows how to operate. And it's the same in the sales industry. Professional sales is I believe personally, is an industry that will never die. It's a profession that people that are
it's getting more risky for companies now, because let's say you're a hotel construction company or something, and the guy is a supply chain salesman for that. If he leaves the company, you can't really do anything. The hotel's built, you can't tear it down and take it somewhere else.
Sure.
But with the digital business, even if you've got a whole supplier that's connected to your system, it's part of the whole system. They can call their corporate customers. It's just one switch. It's disconnect API connection, straight onto the next one, and that's it. So it's more of a risk these days.
Yeah, but I mean, let's remove that element of risk and look at the salesperson's role. You have a book, you build a book. It's a profession. It needs to be treated as a profession. People need to be trained. Yeah. I did a paper in university, trust-based selling. It was an amazing paper. It opened my mind. It's something that I guess I've been doing for a long time, and many people do. They don't even know they're doing it. But the key thing is to find that need, add value. The old saying in English, don't fire all your arrows at the same time.
Yes,
Hold them off, wait, shoot an arrow, wait, see if it bites.
Yes,
shoot
and
again.
there is a psychological reason behind it.
Yeah.
And because we, as the human beings, they cannot remember more than like several things that you said. I mean, actually, the client will never memorize what you said.
Yeah.
He will memorize what he said.
Yeah. Yes, that's
the
correct.
client believes
That's
his
correct.
own story,
That's
not
right.
your
Exactly.
story.
100% right.
Not your story.
That's
This is
definitely
why the salespeople have to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Exactly.
They give, they overload information,
That's right.
they're concentrating on the product, on the platform, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
okay, or the service,
Firing the
which
arrows
is
off. Yeah.
absolutely wrong.
It is wrong.
Bombarding the
I
clients.
never, ever give any information to any
There's two examples of that have really worked. This is actually very good nowadays when we work in such a globalized environment. If you look at Western companies that have succeeded in China is probably it's a communist country, but it's by far the biggest domestic economy in the world.
Right.
Now, I've been there many times, been all over China, been inside large companies there, Chinese companies, and it is economies of not just scale but gigantic, and everyone lives in luxury. It's incredible what they've achieved. However, how many Western companies have really succeeded using the model they use in any other Western country? I can think of two. One of them is Blackwell Global, which is a Chinese company, and they're based in New Zealand or somewhere, Australia, somewhere like that. How they do it? Very quiet, but they go and they visit all of their commercial customers, all their corporate customers, and at first, go back 3 or 4 years, everyone who was doing lots of telephone-based sales and buying media and buying leads and then selling to commercial customers like that said, "You're completely crazy. You're going to go out of business before you've even got your first customer because you're spending a fortune on this relationship building process in a place where you're going to get blocked off all the time." No, massively successful, and no one can break into their client base. They've locked it in completely.
This is the key thing. Building relationships. I mean, it's befriending. I'm not talking befriending, going out for drinks with your customers all the time, but befriending in terms of getting to know the person, their need, satisfying their need. And then you don't need to be bombarding anybody with features and this is about product and things. You just need to hit the nail. You need this. You want red, I'll give you red. You want blue, I'm going to give you blue. And then you say that these are the benefits of my blue. These are the benefits of my product.
Yes,
and that's adding value.
You're not selling. You're assisting the client to
exactly.
get a decision what to buy. That's the most important. Yeah. That's what leads me wherever I go with my client in Corenza, and also with what I preach to people. Is you're not selling.
This is why
you're not giving any
these
information.
Kind of guys will end up in the end being the CEO of their own company because they have a business acumen, because they understand the businesses that they're dealing with. Sales guy, it's very easy to be a good salesman at a large company like Goldman Sachs or something like that. Let's say you're selling liquidity aggregation from Goldman Sachs to institutional customers or something like that, or you're selling software from Oracle or something like databases. Very easy, because they sit you at a desk, you get your salary and your bonus, you get all your leads, you get your customers, you call them or you write them an email, and you just sell one after another, easy. But those guys get to a certain point. They get to a $10,000-$15,000 salary a month. They're doing okay. They're senior sales executive. They then think, they start dreaming, oh, you know what, I can run my own company now.
Yeah, sure.
I don't need this. They fail within a month because they know how to.
They don't understand the whole circle.
They don't.
And the whole flow. The flow is the most. Yes.
You're coming from this. You train people. You're a firm believer in sales training.
Right.
Every salesperson should be trained.
Right.
Are people born salespeople, or can they be trained? Can they be taught?
In order to become a good salesperson or account manager or a customer relation manager, you just need a communication skills.
Sure.
And a great will.
And ability to listen.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't care if the guy doesn't have any experience in sales or marketing, whatever he done in the past, but I do look for communication skills.
Yeah.
And and also emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
a little bit of emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
Because if you're too cold and too blocked to people, sometimes you cannot actually recognize what they really need or what they feel or what they deliver to you, which is not good.
So if that's the case, what's the X factor that differentiates a super salesman who can do the whole channel compared to someone who's got those attributes but will always purely be a sales executive?
That let's say you're talking about salesperson, not a sales manager.
Like the difference, yes,
super
exactly.
salesman.
Someone who's a super salesman who builds his relationships and really locks them in.
Someone that's got a long-term future in sales.
The most important thing that I look in people when I sit with them to a job interview, usually he needs to be a little bit talkative, a little bit, not too much.
Right. Charismatic.
A little bit talkative, yes.
Yeah.
Very energetic. The vibe have to be fabulous.
Yeah. Also patient as well. You have to be patient.
Yes.
A lot of patience.
Yes. No, but patient you cannot know in the first shot when you meet someone. You can't. He can sell you a show which of someone else, you know? But what I'm saying is it's really matter to me the energy, the vibe. The person have to be not over positive, but I have to feel that this guy is flexible in terms of he know how to divide the energy. He is energetic. Is nothing. He can be self-driven, and once you have that, from that small energy, you can build up amazing communication skills. Because if a guy have the energy, he have the energy to listen. Exactly. He have the energy to manage a conversation. Sure. He have the energy to bear crises.
Correct. I've seen salesmen, you're right, because they're salesmen that have been in a profession for a very long time, in big, public listed companies, big ones that are successful. They know everything there is to know about the industry sector. Especially in our business, there are some institutional guys who know everything there is to know. They're very well connected as well, so it should be easy. Can't move the sales. Whereas you get somebody else who I know, I think we both know somebody who doesn't know quite so much about the industry, but massive will, charismatic, very patient, knows exactly how to build that relationship. Yes. I think you would agree that he is a super salesman.
Is a super salesman.
And brought within from previous company he worked for, he brought $55 million of revenue to a very small company. That's without really changed the landscape, without really knowing much about the industry.
Wow.
I would like to say as well, another thing is, I mean, the element of luck. Let's talk about that. I'll tell you a story.
Is there such a thing?
Yeah, such a thing. So let me tell you, there was the story I'll never forget. So the guy, sales manager calls up, the CEO calls up a sales manager, we need to get some more salespeople in. So go fetch some CVs, because usually people apply for jobs and then you put the CVs in the back of the people that weren't hired. So brings him a big stack of paper, chucks it on his desk. Boom. The big boss, the CEO, takes the first pile, the third of it, chucks it in the bin, puts the second in the middle, takes the last bit, throws it in the bin. And the guy's going, what are you doing? He says, in sales you need luck. Those guys weren't lucky.
Brilliant.
But I do think that all of these things together, when we talk about luck in sales and when we talk about successful salespeople, sales, especially in a lot of industries, sales is seen as sort of intermediary, so like a step into a different industry. So people do it sales, in retail stores. People get into call centers because they're university, they want to do call center jobs which are flexible. Sales is a profession, as people, I'm talking a lot of these offline industries are selling technology, people are going to big corporates. it's a skill. It's an
a
art.
skill.
And it should be something that I believe should be developed further. In a lot of industries, should
Yes,
be trained,
you
should be
can
taught, should be nurtured.
Yes, but with the communication skills and the emotional intelligence, this is something that also you can get from the environment.
Sure.
But communication skills, this is something that was designed when you was 5 years old.
Exactly. But
whatever happened after that, that's the person who you are. That's what I believe.
It's like a musician. You know, you can be taught how to play drums, but then you get those people who are natural, they got the rhythm. It's the same thing in sales. So
right.
If you a person's got the good communication skills, it's just a pity in our industry, or in a lot of industries, that sales is viewed as a lower class position.
It depends who it is. If you look at this, we'll finish on this note. This is really interesting. You led me on to that.
Sure.
It is really quite clear that back over 5 years ago, or so, when there was a big influx of retail companies in the lower end of the market. Salespeople didn't, they were on high commissions and very low basics, not much skills, loud mouth, get on the phones, call the leads, buying leads. When they left the company, they steal the leads onto a memory stick. Where are those people now? Failed, all of them.
Failed, yeah.
The ones who are trustworthy
are
the ones who are now CEOs of companies.
Yeah, people that build a book and build on trust base and build relationships.
A lot of yes, but our industry is not a good example. Every other representative is becoming a huge, big freaking manager. I'm sorry to say that.
Yes, but they don't succeed.
No skills. So you are wondering why a lot of companies new companies is going down to the drains. I'll tell you why. Lack of leadership.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So there you go. So that's basically
lack of leadership the whole way.
Yes.
When you choose a manager, you have to check the history, and not only that, you have to see how he's communicating with other people, and what will give him the best arena. What will have for him the tools to be successful.
Absolutely right.
In his arena.
Sure.
If he doesn't have any communication skills, he doesn't know how to. I missed the last part. I wanted to say something important. I'm sorry. I'm going to go back. Lack of leadership. Yeah. Lack of leadership, because there are the managers in our world right now, in our industry, are very young it's like half-baked communication skills. This is what they got.
And big egos,
you expect, and big egos, you expect them.
Rush, and then exit.
Right. You expect them to move your whole team to performance.
Right, but you know what? None of them.
This is an art. With all due respect, this is an art.
It is.
And for that you have to have very high communication skills and human skills.
Totally right. Yeah. Totally right. Well, this is very interesting indeed. And thank you very much for joining us, Karin.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Noam.
No worries.
Noam Stickema of BMFN. I'm Andrew Sachs McLeod, CEO of Finance Feeds. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.